In 2026, you can skip other AIs, but you must learn Codex. In this video, I'll take you step by step from basics to practice. After watching, you'll be able to use Codex right away. So, first of all, what exactly is Codex? The simplest way to think about it is that Codex is an agentic coding hub that's very different from tools like ChatGPT or Gemini. They're like teachers. They can explain things to you, but they don't actually do the work for you. And Codex, you give it a task, and it'll figure out which tools to use and keep working until the job gets done. By the way, everything you're watching now was created with Codex through code. If you're curious how I made it, I am Leah. Please hit that subscribe button and I'll show you later in this video. The Codex interface is pretty straightforward. On the left, you'll find your conversations, search, plugins, and scheduled tasks. On the right is where you chat with Codex, either inside a project or just as a chatbot. Let's create a new project. Before we start, there are a few settings worth configuring. Open plugins, and you'll see integrations like computer use, Chrome, Gmail, Figma, and so on. Install whatever fits your workflow. If you're creating videos, I highly recommend Remotion and HyperFrame. We'll use both later. Now head back to your project. Click the plus button next to the input box, and you'll see two modes, plan and goal. Plan mode helps break down your task before getting started. Goal mode focuses on the final outcome and keeps iterating until it's done. For most cases, plan mode is the better choice. Next, enable the plugin you need for this task. For example, I'll turn on HyperFrame for video generation. Now let's look at permissions. You can choose default, auto review, or full access. If you're new to Codex, I'd stick with default. For the model, I'm using GPT 5.5. It's the smartest option, but it also uses tokens faster. Before we begin, there's one setting you definitely shouldn't skip. Open Settings. Under General, enable all three permission options. Then, change follow-up behavior to guide it, so you can jump into an ongoing task without waiting for it to finish. Finally, let's talk about personalization. Think of it as Codex's master instruction file. Once you set it up, every new conversation automatically follows those rules. Okay, let's talk about what I think is the most practical use for Codex. Imagine you're away from your desk. However, you think of a new idea or remember something you forgot to ask Codex to do. Instead of waiting until you get back, you can simply open ChatGPT, jump into your existing Codex session, and send a new instruction right from your phone. You can see the progress, review what Codex has already done, approve actions when needed, answer follow-up questions, and even steer the task in a different direction, all without sitting in front of your computer. At the same time, your computer keeps working in the background. When you get back, the task is already finished, or at least much further along than where you left it. Now you're probably wondering how I made the animation you saw at the beginning of this video. I didn't use Kling or Seedance. Instead, I asked Codex to generate HTML and then render it into animation. Those two plugins, HyperFrame and Remotion, are both code-driven video frameworks. Once Codex has access to them, all you have to do is describe the scene you want in plain English. The AI writes code and generates the animation for you. The biggest advantage of this workflow is control. Every font, every color, every transition is fully customizable. It's far more precise than relying on traditional AI video generators. Here's one more tip that most people don't know. Codex usage limits reset on a rolling 5-hour window. That means the moment you send your very first message, a 5-hour countdown begins. Let's say you usually work from 9 to 11 a.m. and then again from 2 to 6 p.m. If your first message goes out at 9 a.m., your quota won't refresh until 2 p.m. Use that up, and the next reset won't happen until 7 p.m. That's only 2 refreshes during your workday, but if you intentionally send a quick message at 6 a.m. and another at 11 a.m., you'll end up getting 3 refresh windows throughout the day, which lines up much better with a normal work schedule. And if your schedule is pretty consistent, you can even use Codex itself to create a scheduled task that automatically sends those messages every day. Naturally, automated tasks cover more use cases. You can configure Codex to send daily briefings automatically. It's a small trick, but it makes a surprisingly big difference. All right, in this video, we've covered everything about Codex, from interface initialization and plugin configuration to mobile desktop collaboration and video creation techniques. And there's a little trick for resetting your quota that you definitely shouldn't miss. I feel like the Codex offers so much replayability. If you've discovered any even more interesting use cases, be sure to let me know in the comments. I'm Leah. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I'm looking forward to seeing you again in the next video. See you next time. Bye.